We just got that awesome Nosferatu remake, and now Universal's bringing back the Wolfman. This long-awaited project is finally happening. After the Dark Universe didn't work out, Universal changed their approach to reviving their classic monsters. Instead of trying to create a shared universe, they're focusing on standalone stories for characters like Dracula, the Mummy, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, and the Invisible Man, something that's tough to pull off in horror. After 2020's The Invisible Man proved that standalone horror movies still worked for the classic monsters, Universal quickly gave the green light for a Wolfman remake. However, the project hit some roadblocks, with production delays and the high-profile exit of star Ryan Gosling nearly killing it off for good. Luckily, Blumhouse and Universal kept pushing forward, and now the Wolfman is set to make his comeback in 2025. At New York Comic-Con, a new trailer for the upcoming Wolfman movie was revealed, picking up where the teaser left off. The trailer gives us a glimpse of some seriously creepy body horror, which seems to be a big focus for the film. With body horror gaining popularity this year thanks to The Substance, it looks like Universal is jumping on that trend for Wolfman in 2025. The story follows a family trying to start fresh in Oregon, only to end up stuck in a farmhouse with a werewolf lurking outside. To make things worse, a nasty injury to Abbott might turn him into the same monster. The new trailer gives us a good idea of what to expect in January, and it looks like director Whannell is really leaning into the body horror, using practical effects instead of CGI. The trailer kicks off with a happy family arriving in Oregon in their moving truck, but things quickly go south when Abbott swerves to avoid a creepy man-beast in the road, crashing into a tree and flipping the truck. The family gets chased by the creature, seeks refuge in a farmhouse, and that's where we start to see Abbott's gruesome transformation. There are teeth falling out, hair shedding, and nails breaking off, all with blood dripping as they tear themselves free from Abbott's hand. It's not as intense as something like The Substance, but for body horror fans, it's still pretty satisfying. The filmmakers seem to be putting a lot of care into the werewolf transformation, reminiscent of 80s classics like The Howling and An American Werewolf in London. Leigh Whannell's werewolf is set to be something totally new. In any werewolf movie, there's usually an expectation, thanks to the groundbreaking work by SFX legends like Rick Baker and Rob Bottin in those 80s classics. But Whannell told Discussing Film earlier this year that he wants to create something unique, not just build on what's already been done. He's aiming for a werewolf that audiences haven't seen before. He said, "Rather than trying to outdo or build upon what has already been done in the past, I tried to do something singular, where people could say, 'Oh, I've never seen that version before.'" Whether he pulls it off is still up in the air, since the creature is being kept a secret until the film drops on January 17. For now, we'll have to make do with the sneak peeks we've gotten, but honestly, based on what we've seen so far, we're pretty excited to see his take on the werewolf in full savage form. Since the teaser dropped, director Leigh Whannell has been dropping hints about what we can expect from Wolfman, and his latest comments are definitely ramping up the excitement. One major inspiration for him was David Cronenberg's The Fly, especially the unforgettable transformation scene with Jeff Goldblum. Whannell shared that he wanted to capture that same sense of tragedy in the werewolf transformations, with a heavy focus on practical effects. In an interview with Empire, Whannell explained that The Fly did something special with its practical effects by showing the tragedy of a body falling apart, not just grossing people out. He said, "It wasn't a joke in The Fly, it was there to illustrate someone who was dying of an illness. I was like, I've got to do that. It's not about being funny or icky or gory. This is about the tragedy of the human body falling apart." Leigh Whannell has shown he's the perfect director to tackle classic themes in fresh, non-traditional ways. His 2020 film, The Invisible Man, is a prime example, proving he can take a classic story and make it work for modern audiences. While the idea of invisibility sounds cool, previous adaptations of H.G. Wells' novel weren't all that scary. Whannell's version, however, grounded the story in a more realistic setting that felt relevant to today's world, adding new twists to the method of becoming invisible. The film, made on a $7 million budget, was a huge success, grossing $144.5 million just before COVID-19 hit, and its success paved the way for him to take on another Universal Classic Monsters project. As for the cast of Wolfman, it may be small, but it includes some big names, especially after Ryan Gosling's departure from the project. Christopher Abbott, known for Sanctuary and It Comes at Night, will play the title character, Blake. Julia Garner, best known for her role in Ozark, joins the cast as Charlotte, Blake's workaholic wife who must protect their child as her husband undergoes terrifying transformations. Matilda Firth will play Blake and Charlotte's daughter, Ginger. While Gosling was originally set to lead the film, the current cast is already getting positive feedback. Whannell also spoke to Empire about Garner's performance, comparing it to a classic horror role from The Shining. He said, "She's going to be the emotional compass of this film, and she's going to be what Shelley Duvall was in The Shining. You don't get scared in The Shining without Shelley Duvall, and so I was like, I've got to find someone who can drink up the audience's empathy, and she did an incredible job." I totally agree with you. Julia Garner is such a talented actress. If you've seen Ozark, you know she's going to crush this role, especially with a director like Whannell guiding her. I'm also a big fan of his work, so I'm excited to see what he does with Wolfman. As for what's next, Whannell recently teased at New York Comic Con that he's interested in taking on another classic Universal monster, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He mentioned that while he doesn't have a specific idea for the project yet, the dual personalities of the character always used to scare him. Here's what he exactly said. "I've always thought Jekyll and Hyde. That book, when I was a kid, really creeped me out, the concept of it. Of all the monsters, that one used to really stay with me. There's something about the hero and the villain being the same person. I think it would be a really good modern version of Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know exactly what it would be." Whannell's comments about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde open up some exciting possibilities for a fresh take on this classic, often underrated Universal monster. Compared to more popular monsters like Dracula and the Mummy, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde hasn't had many standout movies in recent years. The story of a mild-mannered scientist transforming into the sinister Edward Hyde has a lot of potential for a modern, darker reboot. With advancements in VFX and makeup, the transformation scenes could be truly terrifying. Well, that's it. What are you most excited about for Wolfman? The body horror, the cast, or Whannell's unique take on the classic? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest updates on this and other thrilling movie news. We'll see you next time.